Pretty cool news. I am back with Todd. They're strip tilling into some wheat. There he is again, guys. Even better news. I got the old wireless mic out.
Oh, nice. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Reese.
Reese? How old are you, Reese?
7.
7 years old. What'd you bring Dad?
Water.
Water? Oh, very sweet of you.
It's me again.
It's Todd. Todd, tell everyone what we're doing.
Well, since we had so much fun yesterday flying around, we actually have to show up to work today. But today, you probably saw the first pictures of us stripping some corn in before. We're just doing this on a larger scale. That's a 12-row stripper. And yes, I did say stripper, Trevor.
He's gonna be stripping in the lights tonight.
And then we're planting right behind it with a 12-row corn planter. So we're planting corn right now. So yeah, we can. You can see, like right here, we just clipped this off. This is a triticale that we grew, or they call it. It's a wheat basically. It doesn't have the awns on the wheat. It's an awnless wheat, so it doesn't get caught up in the mouths of the cows. But we clipped that off. It was about this tall. We clip it off. It'll be made into grain feed or corn or into silage. And then we come in right behind the choppers and we'll strip it. And then we'll plant the seed right into the stripper marks. You can see the differences over here.
You said stripper marks.
Yeah, you see, this is what it looks like where we just stripped it. And you can see it makes a really nice soft bed, just like a garden soil does. But it leaves this part right here, so we have a lot of erosion in this area here, and compaction as well. But you can stick your hand all the way down in there. Look at that beautiful soil.
Now explain erosion. Leaving this, I guess you would almost call this a cover crop, right?
Yeah.
It's going to keep it from erosion.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about cover crops, so
we're trying to save. We're trying to do as minimum till as we can. And you see all these root balls that this is really, really good because that'll stay in place. And then as those root balls rot, they create a void in the ground to where when the corn roots get in there, they'll follow those old decaying roots. And of course, there's chemical processes that happen, all the humic acids that form during those decaying processes. It'll all happen right in here. So this will all be real stable in here. It holds the water back. And if you can imagine, you see how it's shading right now? That's what happens in the summertime as well. It shades the ground so we don't lose as much water to evaporation. So you can see right here, this right here is where we just planted it, and it just looks like we didn't really do anything, honestly. This is where we planted it. This is where it was stripped from this foot right here, and this inside, 20 inches in here is not touched at all. But it's pretty hard. And this is pretty soft. I mean, I can't dig into this, but this I can. So if we dig in here a little bit here, we should be able to see our seed in there if I planted it right.
How deep are you going for?
I even got a mark on my finger.
Oh, there, see the pin?
See that? No deeper than that, but no shallower than that. Then I had a little smiley face on there to make it happy, but it wore off. I've been digging in the dirt too much, so that's one corn seed there. We're trying to go for about every 5.5 inches or so. My watch out, Ranger. That's my doggy. Our seed population, see, there's a seed stuck right there. And so I just use my handy dandy tape measure here. And that's right about 1 3/4 inches. That's what we want. So that's what we're going after. Now there's enough moisture in this that it'll start, well, I would say no, there's not that much moisture in this ground.
We're down south, there might be enough.
This won't be enough to germinate it, so I can't ribbon this dirt. So we'll have to get water on this right away. So, but yeah, that's the concept. It saves us about $300 in tillage.
Wow.
We can completely come through here and till this all up and
make the ground soft.
Basically, become the same process with one pass of that machine and then planting it. We're done. We can plant this whole 120 acres today. No problem.
Now, why don't you? Well, okay, so in other states, they do both of these things at the same time. Why don't you guys?
Well, for one thing, the machine that does that is expensive, the setup. And of course, that's my wish list, but we don't always get what we want. So we got to work with what we have. And plus, our ground over here it sets up really hard. It's extremely hard. So in some cases, we may have to strip it twice.
Oh, wow.
Just to get a good enough seed bed, because we can pull up big clods, and especially in the ground like you guys farm, in the heavy river soil, it'll create either mole holes down at the bottom. It'll be like
But also field size is kind of what I was thinking too.
well, that's true.
Fields are small and square.
Yeah, we got
the big and
this one here. All these machines, they'll fold up, and so I can take them down the road and transport them. So, but there's kind of a science behind it. It's kind of a neat deal, but we've made it work for us, and it's a good chance. The way that we do it, I like it, is because that machine is able to inject like our phosphorus into the ground. Now we're very low in phosphorus here in Arizona, and of course nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is our three major ones, but we're low on phosphorus. So we inject it, we place it in the ground, and
even a little cotton left over.
that's what we did. Yeah, we had, remember, this has a field. Well, you guys didn't get a video of this field, but we did pick cotton in this field. We came in here and just lightly tilled it and planted the wheat in here, and now we're back into this other crop. So
But this would have been 2021 cotton, right?
no, we had cotton in it last year.
Well, we just picked 2022. Or was that 2020? No, we just did that. That was 2023. the stuff right up the road?
I mean the variety or the year?
The year.
No, well, I guess it'd been 2022. So yeah, 2022 had been. We picked this in
Because you guys just planted cotton or corn right behind that other cotton.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Yep.
is 2 years ago.
So that had been 22 crop.
Or a
This,
year ago.
yep,
That was this year. Oh, whatever.
yep. So only a couple months ago, basically. So as everybody knows, when you plant corn, you also got to put a little secret hiding spot out here for sweet corn.
Oh.
So if you guys come out here, I'm gonna plant some sweet corn right here on the other side of this berm.
Nobody's going to
So-
know. I love it.
You can't see it from the road. You have to walk in just a little bit over here to come into it, and it protects it a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, if you don't close those ends in, if you don't close the end in off the road, everyone will see it and they'll just park and go in there.
So it's freebie.
Yeah.
So, but a little bit of corn like that, man, that goes a long way. If I plant 12 rows, just
Oh my gosh, that'll
just
be a lot,
100
yeah.
feet will feed enough to, yeah, it'll feed a lot of families. So anyways, yeah, no, this is it. So we'll have water in this tonight.
Oh, wow.
And hopefully we'll have germination out of the ground within probably about 12 days, 12 to 15 days. The 15 days at the longest, but we got warm days, so it should come out of the ground pretty quick.
Who's running the new tractor?
That's Dean, my brother Dean.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Good. We'll be able to ride with both of you guys then.
Yeah, and that machine's pretty cool. That tractor's got a massaging chair in it
What?
and a cooler inside. Yeah, we're spoiling that thing.
Awesome.
So,
Well, I guess let's plant some corn.
yeah.
Oh, whoa, look at that. Forget the mic's on your shirt.
Sweet. That's some sweet wheels you got there.
Those aren't wheels.
So yeah, this is our process right here. Same deal like my cotton picker. You know, these screens are all pretty universal, so we utilize the technology. This machine here is a 12-row corn planter, and it used to be set up on chains that you'd have to change the transmission manually, but I ended up converting it over to hydraulic. So all I have to do is just come over here to this screen right here, push a button, and tell it to plant 38,000 seeds per acre, and I do it. Or if I want to plant 35,000 seeds,
Man,
it does it. So
that's nice.
yeah. So, and this is monitoring every individual unit I have is telling me whether it's above the baseline or below the baseline. If it drops below it, that means we're planting less than 38,000. And of course, if it goes above it, and it's going to fluctuate because seed size or vacuum or whatever we're doing, it's just how many seeds is counting. So, and then of course everything else is telling me all my diagnostic stuff, how many acres I've gone through, what I got left, acres per hour, diesel per, you know, all my fuel burn, stuff like that. I'm also injecting a pop-up fertilizer, we call it. It's injected down with the seed, so there's a little thumb that runs, they call it a seed guard, and it makes a trench for the seed to fall into, and in the bottom side of that guard there, there's a little tube, and we're injecting, that's what this tank is on the front of this tractor. That's full of that, basically the Miracle Grow Gatorade for the seed, and that helps it during emergence. It gives a little bit of nutrients right as soon as it first emerges and puts that first root out of the corn. So every little help we can give it, we give it. So I forgot to tell you guys, so I've got all my seed, I can digitally monitor that, but for the fertilizer, in order for me to know that it's putting out the fertilizer per unit, this system back here, there's a sight glass there for each one of those little cones. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's little balls inside of there that float in the density of the fertilizer. And when I turn this thing on, those balls will float about midway. My flow right now is about 12 psi, so I'm not putting up very much, but if I turn my pressure up, those balls are coming up, and I can see that the flow is flowing through every one of those tubes. So that ensures me that there's a flow going to each unit. We've not plugged up, and I can assure myself that we're getting the right fertilizer per seed row.
Why is number 11 higher?
I don't know why.
One of them?
It's
the ball different?
No, I don't know why. Honestly, it's always been that way. It must have an orifice that's just a little bit bigger. But we also have to, since I'm not a digital form on this thing, and I don't have any rate controllers running this, I have to kind of just monitor that manually. So we have to go to the old school method of calculating our fertilizer rates. So I have to go and say, well, I want to drive at, say, 4.5 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour, and I know that I'm putting fertilizer out every 30 inches. So there's a formula that you can follow, and you can look this formula up in any of the books. But then you just adjust your orifice size according to how fast you want to go and how much you want to put out. So I'm shooting for 5 gallons per acre, and so at 5 gallons per acre at 4.4 mile an hour, I have to set my PSI to about 12 PSI or so. And if I want to go to 5.5, then I'll be at 15, and if I want to go 6, I'll be at 20 mile an hour. So it's kind of the old school way of doing things, but it works. It's a cheaper way because the rate controllers are pretty darn expensive. But other than that, it's pretty simple. We just we adjust our tractor wheels to fit in between the rows that we just basically ripped, and we don't leave any wheel tracks or ruts or compaction marks. And hopefully corn's going to be popping in about 2 weeks.
How big is this? What size tractor is this?
This is an 8260R, so 260 horsepower. It's a little overkill for this thing, but it's good for me because it's on a bigger frame tractor, and it's able to handle this heavier planter. So we've lightened it up a little bit. We've taken a lot of the weights off the wheels, and 300 gallons of fertilizer in the front gives us a little more stability. But it really doesn't. This is a pretty light tractor. It works out perfect for us.
I run Fence. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
The Fence tractor.
Yeah.
It's all right, isn't it?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Just kick me on the tractor right now.
I was telling them, all these machines break down. They had a Klaus machine chopping. You know, it's a brand new machine, basically. 1,000 horsepower in that sucker, and it wouldn't run. Just because it was like electronics had sat there. They hadn't used it in a while, and one of the converters had broke on it, and it wasn't converting to 24 volts or something. But
typical.
Yeah.
Typical.
I told that guy, I was like, well, even the new ones break too, so.
It's probably a millennial tractor. Millennials.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. You're a millennial, aren't you?
Kind of, I guess.
Did you skip out of it? I think you're.
Nah, I'm on the older end of it, I guess.
The older end of it?
Yeah.
He's an old millennial.
Yeah.
Now, what a pretty day, you guys. I hope you guys can hear me.
So the field right in front of us here, that is corn there. That's what we planted in corn, what was it, 2.5 weeks ago. So it's already sprouting, coming up. Hopefully we'll be right next in line with them.
Getting ready, so you guys can hear me. Todd, what generation of farmer are you in Arizona, or even on this specific farm?
So
Your family
came to Arizona in 1912, So it would be my grandpa, my great-grandpa, and then my grandpa was actually born in Illinois, but he was a twin. They were born in June, and they came out here months later just because they were just too small to ride on the train. But
oh wow.
I guess I consider him an Arizona generation. So it was him, my dad, and me. So I'm third generation. My kids are fourth. If you count my great-great-grandfather, I'm fourth and they're fifth. It's just kind of how you want to count it.
Yeah.
But we're, my family homesteaded in Illinois, and they're still there. And
are they Rovies?
The Rovies did, yep.
So do you have Rovies in Illinois?
Yep, they still there. Yep, they grow
they
corn.
Could be watching this.
I hope so. That windmill right there, that came from our original homestead in Illinois.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So,
do you know when they homesteaded in Illinois? That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I want to refer you to my aunt. She's like up all that stuff. But no, it came over here from Germany. Of course, just like they immigrated, just like anybody else did. Came through Staten Island or someplace over there. They just like everybody else did. And
my in-laws are from Switzerland, but on the Swiss-German border.
Well, me too. I'm from Switzerland too.
You know what part?
Ask all these tough questions. Yes, I do. I do know where they're from. I just don't know the name of it. But yeah,
that's okay. You know a lot about tractors. I don't. I know that my in-laws they're from Appenzell. If you're watching from.
My family in Switzerland were the first company to ever drill through the Alps.
To drill?
Drill through the Alps.
Drill water? What do you mean drill?
The tunnels.
Oh, a tunnel.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
They had a tunneling company that they drilled through the Alps back in, I guess World War II times.
Wow.
So they were the ones that did that.
Interesting. Very interesting. I want to thank you guys for watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you have any questions or comments, make them. I do my best to respond to everybody. Sometimes I get behind. It takes me a few days or weeks, but just check back in every now and then. Check your YouTube and it'll pop up. Don't forget, share, like, tell everyone about it. Have a great day.